I hate to say it, but I don't think there'll ever be a movie like Top Gun Maverick ever again. I became a stunt pilot because my father is a well-known stunt pilot. And growing up in a house when your dad does something cool like that, you're just hooked. But I do love telling people there was one thing that almost derailed me, and that's the first Top Gun movie. Believe it or not, like I almost changed courses because I wanted to be an F-14 Navy pilot. This movie is me. Like it's a love letter to aviation. Tom is already an incredible aviator, and I think the world doesn't understand that. And I've worked with Tom over the years, but he is an accomplished pilot. Already going into this movie, Tom was passionate about aviation and an incredible aviator. And I feel like one thing Tom does best, like he really wanted to help the other actors in the movie kind of get that same passion. So we started the program and started training them. And the 172s, it's a very common aircraft for people to learn in. And that was all about the actors just getting used to being in the air, and getting that spatial awareness, where to look, how to talk on the radio, how to take off and land, what the gauges do. But then we graduated the cast into extra 300s. That's like 1,600 pounds of force. And if you're not used to it, it's going to make you sick. So that's really building up your G tolerance, we call it. And when I say I'm proud of them, that's no easy task. And they would get in these airplanes on a day-to-day basis and they'd go flying. And yeah, they would get sick and they would push through it and keep going. So we just kept upping that level of intensity. So by the time we put them in those F-18s, they were awesome. They were ready, they were seasoned, and that's why they look so good on camera. My job is to make them all look good on camera. So I'm flying an L-39 Cinejet, we call it, which has a camera system installed on it. And I'm chasing the F-18s and we're dogfighting with them. Just to put it in perspective, it's like a level of power that most people will never get to experience. They had to do the Navy water survival training. They had to get full medicals, aviation medicals, to make sure that their bodies were healthy and ready for it. And they had to get experience from the aviators who fly these Navy jets of how to process those Gs. And there's ways to do it. There's breathing maneuvers and ways to flex your muscles to keep the blood up in your head when you're pulling these Gs. All of the actors are in those aircraft. So they went through extensive training, and Tom was incredible with this, but extensive training on the ground of light angles and background. And, they had a mirror zipped in their flight suit, and they'd pull their mirror out and they'd do their own hair and makeup in between each shot, because you pull these G-forces and you're messed, right? And in between shots, they'd have to pull this mirror out, make sure everything looks good, mask is straight, visor straight, and they'd put that away, and then they'd direct their Navy pilots where to be, where to put the sun. They became their own director and DP. So just like, if you imagine the responsibility and everything they had to do in those jets, because there's nobody else that's doing it for them. That is 100% the cast in those aircraft doing everything. Tom's one of my favorite actors in the world, always has been. And when you work with him, you really understand that one of his best qualities is how he inspires those around him to get to that level of perfection. Because really, we're there to make the best possible product, and not settle for anything less. I remember in the beginning of the movie, he gave us an incredible speech about where we needed to set the bar and how we were at a disadvantage because this was a sequel, and how we waited for this incredible story which existed, and now we had the technology to tell it, and what he expected out of all of us to help him tell that story. We felt the pressure, but that pressure, I feel like, was our motivation. One cool little story, I remember taxiing in the Cinejet, which is a modified L-39 jet that I designed to film Top Gun Maverick. We'd kill the engine and kind of coast in the hangar, which was a cool way to do it, and be in the shade when we opened the canopy. And I popped open the canopy, and in this particular hangar, someone had turned on the original Top Gun theme song. and I instantly got chills. And I was, that really like brings you back to like, oh my goodness, like what are we making here? Like we're making history. This is history in the making.
I feel the need for speed.
In my world, as an aerial coordinator and the lead camera pilot on the movie, we had a whole bunch more tools that were not available in the past that were available at our fingertips now. So when the audience is seeing those shots of those F-18s and those afterburners lighting in your face, that's usually me right behind an F-18, putting that shot over right in a great spot with my aerial DP behind me operating it. So really, it's not one specific move that stands out to me. It's more of the entire movie of our passion for making sure that we were going to make the best aerial cinematography that the world has ever seen, because Top Gun Maverick is deserving upon that.